Do y'all know who Louis Farrakhan is?
Farrakhan,
Yeah.
that name is something with the Black Panthers, isn't it?
No. Hey,
Am I tweaking?
get out of here, man.
They
They said he's the real executor of Malcolm X in here.
Oh, they said that?
You don't remember that?
I don't remember,
bro, you
bro.
didn't, bro. They said Farrakhan.
Look,
the rumor was they
let's
tried to
see
say
what
Farrakhan got Malcolm X hit up back in the day, but that's a lie.
No, I want to see where you're from, though, really.
Here's the fact about Malcolm X. Just recently, maybe 3 years ago, it came out officially that the FBI, you're right, young man, the FBI killed Malcolm X. But here's what I want you to focus on, young man. The FBI, that's the they. The FBI is the government, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That is the top police force in the country. That's the police of the entire country. Right? They killed Malcolm X. They assassinated Malcolm X. Why? That's murder. So just remember that when you hear Officer Tatum say, the government ain't against black people. What FBI killed him? The FBI that in the 60s, like I said, I'm a 70s child, okay? But the parents, your parents who were born in the 60s and the 70s, this is what was going on then. They were killing black leaders. Who's they? The FBI. The United States government were assassinating black men. Martin Luther King as well. Look at this paperwork. They had a program. The United States government had a secret program called the Counterintelligence Program. And right here in the paperwork, it shows where they had a plan, a secret force, the FBI, the government, to assassinate and neutralize and kill any black leader. And look at the words, prevent the rise of a Messiah.
The single greatest threat to our national security, more than the Chinese, even more than the Russians. Our counterintelligence program must prevent the rise of a black messiah from among their midst.
Messiah. This is biblical language. A messiah is a savior. Think about it. The government wants to prevent the rise of a black person coming to save black people. Prevent the rise of a messiah. It says it right there in these secret documents. This is the FBI, along with the CIA and local police. That is the United States government. This paperwork was found by some burglars that had broken into an FBI building and found this paperwork and exposed it to the public. There was a secret plan in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s to attack black people by assassinating their leadership. And when you say who killed Malcolm X, yes, the FBI killed Malcolm X. His family now is suing the New York Police Department as well as the FBI for the wrongful death of Malcolm X. And the two men who were framed by the FBI and spent over 20 years in prison are suing the FBI as well, and they were exonerated. Now, these are actual facts. Any journalist, that's all I want to deal with in this reaction is actual facts. No one can deny these facts. For years, the media, jealous people, even jealous black leaders in the black community and the black conscious community, for years tried to associate Farrakhan with the death of Malcolm X. And now this is an actual fact. It has been proven that the FBI, through COINTELPRO, killed Malcolm X, and it was exposed by a black police officer, just like Officer Tatum. A black police officer was used in the conspiracy to set up Malcolm X, and this black police officer, New York police officer, along with the FBI, orchestrated Malcolm X being assassinated. And the way that this was exposed is that same black police officer wrote a letter, a deathbed confession as he was dying, because he felt bad about it after 40 years or however long it had been. On his deathbed, he wrote a confession letter giving all of the details of his commanding officers, names, dates, and times. He was a black police officer like Officer Tatum. And this United States government, whom apparently Officer Tatum loves so much, let this go down in the annals of history, of truth, of what happened with Malcolm X. Let's say this for the record. Let's admit to these actual facts for the record and the history and the legacy of Malcolm X. Here's how he died, so there can be no more slander on his name or on Farrakhan's name. He died because the United States government came up with a plan and assassinated him and other black leaders. They killed Malcolm X, blamed it on the Nation of Islam, locked up 2 innocent men for over 20 years, later on blamed it on Farrakhan, gave Malcolm X a stamp, made him a hero, and now they're being exposed, and now they have to pay off Malcolm X's family. Those are the actual facts and sums it up about what happened with Malcolm X. But what I want the Cartier family to understand is why they're lying on Farrakhan. And these are lies that can easily be disproven because we have the internet today. Let's move on.
No, he was American.
He leads the Nation of
90?
Islam.
No, yeah, okay. So
He looks pretty old.
a lot of
but
Muslim
for 90, he
people
doesn't look 90.
follow this guy. I'm talking about, brother, my dad would probably watch it.
Everybody know Farrakhan.
He watched this
It
guy
says
for
he's been an
hours on hours.
extremist figure rallying against Jews, white people,
Whoa.
and the LGBTQ community.
Whoa.
This is from
Seriously?
2019. I don't know.
Yeah,
how,
it's a lot of different still.
I don't know how accurate this is.
What?
Yeah.
He was a white-
He's just against like Jews
people,
and white people.
He's
and
like
LGBT.
Dr. Umar, but a Muslim.
What religion
yeah,
is Dr.
yeah,
That's
bro.
a very interesting take
I know,
on
bro.
that.
I've actually
That's a
seen
good
like
take on that.
he has like he preaches places and he has like literally probably a TD Jakes crowd, but like might be deeper than that, bro.
Of black people?
Yeah.
It's so deep.
Oh,
like,
wow.
insanely deep.
Bro,
Like,
he been like that since
people
like
follow him like it's insane.
He been
Wow.
like that
Does
since
he- does he-
1960s, bro.
So what does he speak on? Like,
Islam.
oh wow.
Yeah, he speaks, but it's not even just that though. Because I mean, I was arguing with my dad about that. I was like, if you watch him, then you're Muslim. He was like, you don't have to be Muslim. And I was like, okay, I can understand that because I've watched
Yeah,
some clips,
principles.
and he doesn't really talk about being Muslim. He really just talks about life and being like principles and stuff you eat. Just a lot of different things like just the basics
value.
to life. He's an old man, 90 years
I've
old.
never heard of him.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, but I can
bro, I've
understand
heard
that.
I've heard of the name, I just
didn't know who he was.
I ain't gonna say he's a pure niggas listen to him, but
Yeah, it is.
yeah, it might be.
Let's
He has been around-
It's a
listen to
nigga
what he
thing.
says,
Yeah, I
though.
could tell you.
He been
I
around
wanna
since
hear what he has to say,
1960,
though.
boy.
You see, that's why I love this channel. That's why I love the Cartier family, because they're genuinely seeking answers and understanding to the best of their knowledge and ability. But notice the young man to the far left in the green. He regularly talks about his father. That's a sign for me. His father was born during this time of the 60s and 70s. And I presume that this young man was born in the 90s. And notice that he said, Farrakhan has a following, a crowd like TD Jakes, but even deeper. No, brother. No, sir, brother. Farrakhan in 1995, let me remind you young men, and here's the footage, you're looking at it. Let me remind you, in 1995, Farrakhan went into major cities. This is before the internet, young men. He went into major cities speaking to black men. And during the time of the crime bill and crack cocaine and the oppression that was going on in the 90s, Farrakhan was standing up with the hip hop artists. All of them, from Tupac to Public Enemy, any one of them you want to name. Farrakhan, through the time of hip-hop, and remember, hip-hop is a music that was created by black men in the ghettos of America under oppression. And that music today is the most listened to music on the entire planet. Again, actual fact, data. The data shows that more people around the world listen to hip hop. It's the most influential music around the world. And it came from the pain and suffering of black people in the ghetto. It has touched the world. Well, during the 90s, and you see the numbers, Farrakhan called the Million Man March and 1.6 million black men showed up. And what's more remarkable is that there were no arrests, no fights, no issues. Imagine that. 1.5 million black people, black men getting together in peace and love and unity, listening to Farrakhan. And there were no incidents. And the overwhelming majority of them were Christian, because the brother said, he's a Muslim. And then the brother in the green said, well, he doesn't really talk about Islam. You're right, brother. That's why I love this channel. Yes, he's a Muslim, but he speaks to black people around the world, but he comes from black America. He comes from the struggle and pain of black America. So when he speaks in our language. Louis Farrakhan is the spiritual father of the hip hop community, the spiritual father of the community that created the music that is the most listened to music in the world, and he's the spiritual father.